Right.
Seek to understand, then be understood.
Relationships are first.
Yeah.
It's the
And how
building
does
of a
that,
life.
yes. And how does that differ to any other relationship in life? The relationship with your real estate agent, the release
Yes.
with plumber, with your daughter,
Yes.
everyone, every person you meet, are they leaving your company in a better space than when they came in that door? And if the answer is yes, you are literally making the world a better place and
Mhm.
elevating yourself in the process.
Hey, guys, it is Alison. I am the host of your show, Alison Answers Mission Awake. I cannot wait to sit down with you today and go over how we are going to crush the mediocrity in your life that has been plaguing our society since the beginning of time. I cannot wait to have a real deal conversation that includes intelligence, fun, excitement, and real actionable steps to make a real difference in the life that you're living now and making it into something you can be damn proud of and excited to live. Sit down, put on your damn seatbelt, and get ready for the ride of your life. You get instant gratification by avoiding, but it's
Yeah,
not,
you do.
there's no depth to it. It's
Oh,
a terrible feeling.
what I'd suggest, Alison, do it once. Just don't say I'm going to now do it and I'm going to always go in that direction.
Yeah,
Try it once. Just face it and go, this is
yeah.
going to be uncomfortable for the next 2 days. I don't know how I'm going to handle it, but I'm going to go for it. I'll promise you what will happen will be this. You'll get through it and then you'll say, what was the big deal?
I've been
Because,
practicing.
yeah, I can see that. I can
You
really
can?
see that. You're a different person today.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me how. I'm curious.
You're more accepting and you're more loving and you're more I think last time we spoke, we talked about money a lot.
Did we?
Um yeah, like how do you earn, like I remember at the time it was like 100,000 a month on Instagram or some silly. How do
Yeah.
we do that? How do we turn the money thing around? And I was the same, right? And you realize that money is just a lubricant to allow life to kind of go forward, right?
Just a tool.
Um, it's just it's a tool, right? And then you got people that set up their children's future, and all of a sudden their children don't have the struggles that we did or you did, and
Yes.
then they kind of blow that cash. So what were you doing in the first? Like the kids have, you can help them, but the kids have to face challenges.
So important.
Why do we take challenges away from our children?
Because you want to know why?
Why?
Because this is a harsh thing to say. It's because we don't want to feel the pain of watching them in pain. It's selfish, honestly. It is more loving to allow them to
Yep.
experience things because it's very uncomfortable for us. It hurts us. But what I tell parents all the time and spouses, I say never, ever tell your child something that you want them to tell themselves because you're
I love
taking
that.
that opportunity away from them by telling them. So,
Yes. Yeah.
astute questions that help them tell themselves things is awesome. But also, like I see
Mm,
in marriage counseling,
mm,
it's unbelievable. I'll tell like a wife or a husband, I'll be like, don't don't
mm,
say it, like trying to change the other person, trying to,
mm,
make them be the way you need them to be so you feel better.
mm,
What is it? It's like
mm,
taking energy from someone instead of allowing them to
mm,
go through the process because we feel like we're so, we don't know where we end and they begin. So we're like,
mm.
we feel like if you behave this way, my life is going to be better. But if you like, it's so, so beautiful to love someone without an agenda.
Mm, mm, mm,
It's painful, I would say, but that's a big thing with marriage. I mean, it's just like everybody's so, not everybody, but a lot of people are very enmeshed in, they don't see that their happiness becomes dependent upon another person's behavior or not
mm,
behavior or whatever
mm, mm,
success or thinking or,
mm,
and
mm,
it's actually not true.
mm. I think when it comes to marriages, it's because you want to be able to predict behavior. You
Yes.
want to be able to predict safe behavior, right?
Mhm.
And if your husband or your wife is acting in and out of a manner that just looks out for themselves, or just is interested in their own growth. They're not interested in anything else. Then all of a sudden they become, I don't know if selfish is the word, but they become very, it's all about me. And there's, as you would know too, Alison, there'd be other factors in a marriage, a house, keeping a house running,
Oh, man.
kids growing up, some money coming in, the odd holiday, something to look forward to. And I think I think if both people sacrifice a little bit for the greater good of staying together, or for the greater good of feeling that they're stronger together, then that's an intention that they both have moving into it. But I think for me anyway, because I'm not near as professional as you are on the subject, but I feel like for me, when one of the partners is going in a different direction and the other partner wants predictable behavior, then that's when there's a big gap of how do we fill this, or can we fill it?
There's a
And
lot of that.
because then, you look at people who lose weight, like people like, oh, I'm going to go on a diet, I'm going to eat right, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to sleep right. And then one person in the marriage looks really fit in 6 to 12 months time, fit and trim, and the other person isn't. And it's like this, you think you're better than me sort of thing. Like, no, I've just made decisions that align with who I am. Come on the journey with me. No, it's not who I am. So the physical side, they're looking fit, the other one's not as fit.
Yes.
And you're in a situation where, imagine that happens mentally, whereas one person is just interested in. So yeah, and sometimes separation is the answer. I hate to say it.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
You know why? Because people say, let no man separate what God has put together. And I'm like, well, there's just one little clause in that. Suppose God did not put them together.
Yes.
Like that's possible.
Yes.
I mean, I think, and also like, because the consideration of what you're, like people take more time to consider, buying a car or what, than who they're going to spend the rest of their life with. It's like
and add to that, I've got a second clause for your contract.
What is it? Let me hear.
Second clause is, what if God did put them together for a period of time that has now lapsed?
I understand.
Like they had needed to learn specific lessons about life and about each other, so that when they do move on, they take those lessons with them.
It's so important to take them with you.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't, and then they get married a second time, and it ends up being the same problems as the first marriage. It's because you take the weather with you. You take your own weather, your own thoughts with you. Nothing really changes.
Yeah.
Unless you change. Yeah.
Yes. And like, so like I see it with people, it's just a different cast of characters, playing out the movie of your life, my life, in order to create a certain feeling that it's like we become addicted to the feelings we felt the most. We don't even realize it. So then it's like almost like a withdrawal that people go through, and then they want to get back into those old feelings because it's just a drug.
Yes.
And you have to go through the discomfort of not having those feelings.
Yes.
In order to, because you're actually withdrawing. So and I feel like also if one person is on the path of, self-development or like really looking inward, another person is not, is like, blaming and judgmental and, a whole other perspective, it can really be, wow. Like that is a tough thing, I think, for people to try to manage, right?
Yeah, usually there has to be sacrifices on both sides.
I don't know how we got into the marriage thing, but
I don't know how.
I mean, maybe someone needs to hear that. Well, probably like a lot of people.
A lot of people. Yeah.
So how do you reset your intentions?
Okay, so basically the first thing I'd like you to do, we had a little 6-step process last time we spoke, and I'd like to kind of reiterate that.
This isn't about cash, though.
Hey?
There's no cash involved in this endeavor.
No, there's no cash.
I'm getting out my paper. Do I have to write
all love? Write down if you can, because
what
this is super cool stuff. First of all, I need you to define your desire. And that's not don't give me this, I want to be happy business. I want you to define what that means to you. Define the desire. It could be monetary, it could be relationship, it could be health, it could be whatever. Define it laser specific. I want this. God, if it is your will, this is the direction. And if he's in you, he also has the same will, right? The second thing, so you've defined it. The second thing is I want you to feel the feeling of that feeling in the world. So watch other examples of the success of that in the world. Okay. So you look outwardly and you go scroll, research, and you start to go, well, that person's got it, and that person's got it, and that person looks like they have it. So this thing is kind of real. It's not like something I'm making up. The third step is to understand and feel the feeling in your gut. So when you meditate twice a day, which I'm sure you're doing, meditate twice a day and go inside and feel it as real now. Okay, so I've got this thing. Now what do I do? I'm already there, right? I'd be helping that person. I'd be buying that. I'd be traveling to that country. This is all done. It's all done. The fourth area is to release doubt and toxicity in your life. Because if you do the first three steps well, and you keep toxicity and doubt at its current level, you're treading water. You're not moving anywhere.
Love that. Yeah.
The fifth area is to release the timing. Release, and this is an accepting and in part of a surrendering and a vulnerability within yourself to just go, okay, I'm going to stop the struggle. And then the sixth step is to embrace your new reality, which essentially means that once you have got it, know that you can get bigger and that you can get really... The universe doesn't care whether you're moving a pebble or a mountain. It doesn't have size as a measuring stick. All it asks you is, Barry, do you believe or do you not believe? Is this something that you want to embrace, or is this something that you don't embrace? It doesn't care about size, whether you're earning $10 a year or $1 million a year. It doesn't care. All it asks you is, what do you believe to be true? And the way that kind of underscores all of this is that you will always receive what you believe you deserve. Always, without doubt, without hesitation. So if you can change what you believe you deserve, not from an egotistical point, but going, I think that I can bring value to the world to this point where I can earn this. Example, right? So then you start to go, I'm deserving of that. Hell yeah, I'm deserving of that, because I know I can help so many people a year that can pay me so much every month. And then there's my dream. What's the big deal? Like, where's the problem? Like, there's no issue. Why can't I do that? That's possible in the world of today. That's possible. So if you can just consider that intention. And lastly, I will say to Alison, Einstein asked us this question. He said, do you believe the world is a hostile place, or do you believe the world is a friendly place? This more or less predetermines the 6 steps that I've just outlined. So if you're coming from a place where you inherently believe the world is hostile, like you believe that more than anything, then you will search for hostility and you will find it. And if you believe the world is friendly, you will search it and you will find it. Yes. A podcast like this is the best example of friendliness. This is real. This isn't made up. This isn't in our heads. This is, we're actually talking. Yeah. So if this is real, then why can't the manifestation of this be real? Yes. It's like when they invented the first chair, Jesus days, thousands of years ago with the carpenter. Right?
They didn't sit in chairs. Yeah.
Didn't sit in chairs. Yeah. Someone thought, I wonder if I can be slightly elevated with the back, and I wonder if this could work. And we could kind of sit at a table. What the hell is a table? Yes. All right. That was a thought which manifested into reality. Yeah. The chair and the table is examples of the life you want to live. You can do it. As you move forward, don't be too hard on yourself when it doesn't manifest straight away, because there's probably 1,000 designs of chairs that didn't work, but the image of 3 legs don't work. It has to be 4 legs or whatever. You got to think about things. And as you get to that next level, then the next insight will be given to you, and then you'll design it differently. And it's just like life. Don't be too hard on yourself. If you develop a 3-legged chair that doesn't stand, don't be hard on yourself. It's just you learning. And God goes, that's how they learn. They've got to go through the motions. And then build from there. Just don't let the ego get involved. Don't feel embarrassed. Don't feel like you've lost time. Don't feel like you've lost money. Don't do any of that. Just go, part of the journey. Interesting. Interesting. Fascinating. Didn't know it like that. I
Yeah.
wonder how I can all of a sudden that mindset plays out into everything. And yeah,
And you
exciting stuff.
utilize this in like I mean, this to me is what you're describing is like the building blocks for
Mm,
everything. Because you're describing doing, applying this to real estate, helping
mm.
people in real estate. So
Mm.
this mindset is for every area of our life. It doesn't matter. It's everything. It's the foundation. Yes.
Yeah, 100%. I've really been into a gentleman called Chris Voss. Have you heard of Chris Voss?
No,
VOSS.
no. Catherine Boss.
Yeah, well, Chris Voss was an FBI negotiator.
Oh, I
He's got a
know
great
this.
book out there. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you know him?
Wait, but I want to hear what you're saying. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure I read a
no.
book like this. Yes.
Please. His book's called Never Split the Difference.
Yes.
Yeah, you've heard it.
Yes.
And
I have a book.
basically, if you split the difference in hostage negotiation, you can imagine half your hostages die, right? So he's really talked about some negotiation tactics that I've really put into real estate in Sydney. And one of the big ones is that you fish for a no. You don't fish for a yes. We've been preconditioned to look for yeses in our life. Can you help me? Yes. Can you buy me a car, mum? Yes or no. But what Chris does is he talks about the fact that if you fish for a no is a position of control. Yes is relinquishing control. So frame it differently. Are you against? Is it a ridiculous idea? Is it a bad idea? Is it a crazy thought? 2, XYZ. Would it be a bad idea to catch up next Tuesday at 2:00? Would that be a bad idea for you? No, it wouldn't be a bad idea. It'd be a great idea. Okay, let's put that down in the calendar and let's catch up. Whereas if you ask it, are you available next Tuesday at 2:00? Got to check my calendar. I've got to come back to you. We've been fed these yes nonsense questions. So where Chris comes across, and I've been using this in real estate, and it's been unbelievable. It's like a magic tool where I've created rapport with someone, and they go, Barry, I really love what you're about, and I'd love to see this house, for example, that you're offering right now. It's a beautiful home. And I said, well, it's a great home. Would you be opposed to catching up next Tuesday at 1? Have you got some time after lunch? No, I wouldn't be opposed to that. Let me just check. Yep, that's fine. But usually you fish for a no because no is a position of control. But really you're getting a yes, if that makes sense. Is it a bad idea? Is it a crazy thought? Is it a ridiculous concept or whatever it is? No, it wouldn't be ridiculous. No, it wouldn't be bad. And you reframe the question. And when people say no, they're still holding on to control. But when people say yes, they've relinquished it, right? And when you relinquish control, you're in the unknown because you're trusting that the person in front of you is not going to do you wrong. But if you say no, you're in a situation where you've still got some control, even though you've given it away. It's a really interesting way to frame it. And he's also got a way of, if someone is ghosting you, like if someone ghosts you after they've shown interest in what you're all about and they just don't come back to you, he's got this text that he sends out, and this works, Alison. I've tried it. His text, it's a one-liner. It's not, hi, Barry, hope you're well. It's Chris. And he nothing like that. He writes back, are you against, oh no, have you given up on XYZ? So in the real estate game, have you given up on listing with me? Question mark. Have you given up on, let's say in relationship counseling, have you given up on working this out amicably? Let's say a husband sends that to his wife or a wife sends it to her husband. Have you given up on working this out amicably? What happens is that you've embarrassed them into a position where their dignity and their integrity is being questioned. And the response comes within an hour every time the text comes back. No, I've been busy. You don't understand. Things are going on. I'm so sorry I haven't got back to you. It's crazy, even though they've been intentionally ghosting you, right? And the worst thing you can do from that point is to go through the diatribe that led them to ghosting you in the first place. You got to change tact. And the tact is, last time we spoke, we were mentioning that the problem was XYZ, ABC. I've had some new thoughts on it. Would it be a crazy idea to catch up next Wednesday at 4:00?
So you interrupt that whole explanation defense thing?
Yeah, you cut through it like a knife. And
because that makes people feel bad when they're doing it.
Well, they feel bad when if they're ghosting you. Obviously they're in avoidance. They don't want to tackle the problem. They don't want to confront it. But what you've done is you've brought their integrity into question. And if you're dealing with someone without integrity, no one wants to be a person without integrity. So you've questioned it. Have you given up on this thing that we both want? He draws the example of anyway, Chris has a new book out just quickly called The Full Fee Agent.
Full fee.
And I'm halfway through it. It's his second book. And he talks about how real estate agents compromise their commission. And I'm employing the strategies in Sydney of not compromising my commission. Not one bit. I'm worth it. And I'll tell you why I'm worth it. And I go through why I'm worth it. It's not egotistical. He calls it tactical empathy. Tactical empathy is the ability to feel that someone is understood before you explain your position. So be in a position where someone tells you what they're going through, and don't rebut with, oh, but have you thought of this? Or, but have you got this positivity happening in your life? Or no, just listen. And I always come back with the line, that must be really hard. I don't think anyone could truly appreciate that except you, because your situation is quite unique. Hell yeah, it's unique, Barry. Thank you for getting that. Because I don't think I could speak to anyone and they would truly understand. I'm like, yeah, man, like that's crazy. Like, especially because you've gone through that 3 years ago and you're going through this today. I don't even understand how you're even here, like how you're going through this. This is crazy. I want you to know that you're a rare person. And all of a sudden they feel really understood, right? From that standing, you can interject. Have you, I mean, this is a crazy idea, so forgive me for saying it. Have you thought of XYZ 1, 2, 3? Like, has that ever entered your mind? No, it hasn't. Well, it's just a thought, but a possible solution could be XYZ 1, 2, 3. It's worked for other clients. It's worked for me. You know what? Show me how to do that. What do I have to do? Where do I have to go? And they're more receptive to the answer once they've revealed and you've understood their positioning. And sometimes it takes, those 2 ears and 1 mouth, understanding that you got to listen more than what you speak with. And fully understand that people need to feel understood. We live in a world where people are not understood. Social media, thumbs up, thumbs down, love, little emoji, whatever it is, that's not understood. That's just an acknowledgement, even if it's that. But people, what's lacking, Alison, where the true riches are in the human spirit and in the world monetarily, is people being understood. People will then stay so loyal to that person, but it's got to be genuine. It can't be fake.
No.
So Chris Voss talks about it. He talks about it, and he's called it tactical empathy. So in the real estate world, it's understanding someone selling and buying positions to then be able to offer something that makes sense.
But it's genuine.
It's genuinely, you got to have a care for people. And this is maybe what can't be taught, or it can be taught. I'm not sure. But caring genuinely for the outcome of someone's life.
Yeah.
That's got to be real. It can't be, because if it's not, you can tell that it's fake. You're doing it to get the sale. And in Sydney, there's a lot of real estate agents that we call it commission breath. Everything they say is for the sale, right?
It's all
every agent's out there to make their next commission. And he even talks about in real estate how there's this horrible cycle with agents. You chase the listing, you get the listing, you close the listing, you prospect, you get the listing, you close the listing. Again, the cycle keeps going around. And there's this kind of up and down. And what the good agents do is even the ones that are earning $1 million a year, because we've got a few in Sydney that are taking home $1 million a year, right? What they do is they never stop prospecting. Like they block out time for 2 hours a day from 10 o'clock to midday. They are calling, hey, I'm going to be in the area. I'd love to come and say good day. I'm seeing Mr. Smith on Jane Street. I'd love to pop in. They're not selling, but I'd love to pop in and just give you an appraisal, or Tuesday or Thursday next week, suit for a quick drop in. And then all of a sudden you come across with tactical empathy, you come across with understanding that one time might not suit them. So you're offering them two. You're not there to sell their house. You're just there to have a conversation, build a relationship. All of a sudden, trust forms. All of a sudden, numbers are exchanged. All of a sudden, emails are exchanged. All of a sudden, Barry's the real estate guy I talked to at the Christmas lunch.
Yeah.
And then your reputation builds. So it's bringing that understanding of that tactical empathy, which a lot of, say, real estate agents and other people in sales are not necessarily doing, because all they care about is the sale.
That's it.
And then it comes across that way. Mm-hmm. You know what? The only way relationships are not available, like are not needed, is in the fruit and supermarket. You're not going to go and have a negotiation with the tacos.
Right. Yeah.
You're there. Mm-hmm. It's on special or it's not, and you want to eat tacos tonight. You're not going to talk to the service person at the front counter and say, tell me about your taco scenario.
Unless you want to get to know them about their house.
Yes.
Then you might.
Then you might.
Relationships are first.
Yeah.
It's the building of a life.
Yes. And how does that differ to any other relationship in life? The relationship with your manager, the relationship with your real estate agent, the relationship with plumber, with your daughter, everyone. Yes. Seek to understand, then be understood. That's the key.
Hey, guys, how are you? Isn't that amazing? This story that we're hearing on this show is great. I want to just give a shameless plug of my book. I would really want people to have a good look at my book and to understand what it really is. I used to be ashamed to plug my book. And then I realized, how is that right? To keep the information, the 30 years of experience that I have, the 8 years of education, the trauma that I grew out of and learned how to manage, and how to manage emotion, all the training I've had in neuroscience and quantum physics. How can I keep that from the public? So it's not, I used to think it was like something I should, be humble about, but being humble is silly when you're keeping things away from people that they need. So what I want to tell you about my book, and I hope that you do get it, because I think it will really help you. I've gotten a lot of tremendous feedback about my book, and that it's really, really of great value to a lot of people. And what it is, it's an interactive read, and there's inside of it, there's journal entries. So as I'm teaching and going through the book and teaching you how to create the life you want by understanding how you're wired, how your thoughts, feelings, how your words, how thoughts are things, and the neuroscience behind it, and how we are programmed from the time we're 0 to 7 years old to live a life of mediocrity or a life of poor design because of meaning that we attached to events when we were children that just became our programming. What I want to tell you is that there is a way out, and it's a simple way. It's very simple. I believe in the simplicity and the grace in healing, and that it doesn't have to be a big work. So I would love it if you'd get my book. It's a best-selling book on Amazon, and it's my first. And I encourage you to get it. It's called The Wake Up Call, an interactive read for building the life you want. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Thanks so much for being on the show, and let's get back to it. My son says, I say it, it's like to understand someone is to love them, and to be understood is to be loved.
Love it.
It is so true. Like, I feel like one of my highest values is to be understood. And like they say that's the number. The man who brought Harley Davidson back to life described that the reason in marketing why it failed is because it lost the one value that creates customer loyalty. And then it's what you're saying. It's that you delight people. They get a dopamine hit. People feel delighted in when they feel seen, they feel understood. They're yours forever because you see them, you've connected to them, the real
Mm,
person.
mm,
And I never could understand, because I never, early on when I was even by myself in my business, I could never understand why, like, there was like a line out the door. There was always people who wanted to come. And I learned like 20, maybe more than that, 25 years later, that, oh, it's because I genuinely delighted in the people. Like, I meant it. Like, when they'd come in, I'd be like, ah, so happy to see them. And, that means a lot to people. It was
and
maybe
to
a little
you.
much back then, but I meant it. And
Yeah,
people
yeah,
love that, being seen,
yeah.
known, understood. Where do we get that? Like, to have a real friend who gets you. You're perfect for that. You are.
I
You're good. You mean it too, though.
Yeah, because when I see them, and you're the same, Alison, when you see someone grow, a part of you also elevates.
Yes.
And then that feeling is addictive
Hmm.
because it ends up being this natural, dopamine high. And you're actually doing it in the service of others. You're not doing it just earning money or just selling a
No.
product for a fee. This has deeper meaning than that. And I look at people that are like hugely wealthy and they're in the product, like they could be selling toilet seats and they're selling toilet, and that's great because we all need bloody toilet seats, right? But it's like for me, there's no real human connection value to that, or
Yeah.
whatever it is selling. It could be,
Mhm.
whatever. And but it's like, don't you want to spend your time on this earth in some degree helping someone move past something that they thought they couldn't? Like, isn't that where the real reward lies?
Cool.
And then
Oh,
knowing that you had like an incy part of
yeah.
that.
Yes. I think it's
Like,
amazing. And you
like
know what?
there's no
Where
substitute
all
for that.
problems come, I think, or we've heard this lots of times, from separation or feelings of separation.
Yeah, yeah.
I've actually thought, like, because I have a million people in my life and I help a lot of people. And I've
Mm,
actually thought, somebody said to me, I was at a wake last night, and somebody said,
mm.
"How are you, Allison?" And I looked at them and they looked at me. They go, "No one ever asks you that, do they?" I'm like,
Yeah,
"No,
wow.
actually, they really don't." And we
Wow.
laughed so hard because I was like, "Oh, wow." Like, I never even thought of it. Like,
Yeah,
and you become accustomed to giving and, people not seeing you, when you're in that role. But
yeah.
Andy Frisella talks about how him and his partner were in business for 10 years and they were making like $695 a week or something, like really bad. It's like
Mm,
nothing. And
mm.
they were chasing the dollar. They were sleeping in the back of its First Form. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's in America. So anyhow, they were basically not making money. And he said that a guy came into the store who was really like overweight and really down, like really having a hard time. And Andy was like broken at this point, like, we're not getting anywhere here. And he genuinely wanted to help this dude. He was like, I just want to help this guy, lose the weight. He's so unhappy. So he just shifted at that moment and he really looked to only, he said to his partner, he said, Chris, I just want to help this guy. And look, I'm just going to do that from now on. I give up. And the guy's like close to a billionaire now. He has like,
Wow.
he is so successful. He's so well
Wow.
known. He has this very, unbelievable podcast. And his wife wrote the book, People First, I think.
Mm.
She's amazing too. And they genuinely like care about people first.
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
said that shift was the thing. So he tells us he's one of the founders of Arete. So he said,
Right.
if you're, yeah, with Ed Milet. And he's like, if you're chasing the dollar, it's going to run away from you. You
Yeah,
just give, just find,
yeah.
add
Yeah.
value.
We had this lady on the weekend looking at this house for sale in Sydney. The house is about, oh, I don't know, 1.8, $1.9 million, and it needs a lot of work, like a lot of work. And she was a first home buyer with her husband. And you could tell she was a bit green. She in the property market, living with her parents currently, and looking to buy her first home. And her name was Eva. And I said, Eva, this is the work that the house does need. It might need $200,000 to $300,000 as renovation capital. So if you haven't kind of got that, just have a think about which property you want to buy. Anyway, long story short, she didn't buy the property. And we're doing a renovation on the property as realtors to bring it up to scratch, about $30,000 or whatever it is. And she sent me a Christmas message and she said, Barry, I don't know real estate that well, but I know that I'm buying a house from you. And I said, Eva, that's such a lovely message. Like, why would you say that? Like, why? Well, where did that? Because I wanted to know where that came from. She goes, you're the only person that actually cared about me. Like, we've been to other open homes, we've been to other private inspections, and you came from a sincere place of tactical empathy, if you want to call it that. And I was like, well, it's not very tactical. It's just who I am. And sometimes I go on too much, but it's from a place of care and wanting the best for you. She goes, well, I don't care. You better find me a house because we've got close to $2 million to spend. And it's a really interesting scenario because people notice it in you. They notice that there's a craving. And what they're really finding, Alison, they're connecting to a part within themselves that they are yearning to bring out. And they found it in you. And then all of a sudden there's synergy. And they want to hang around that because that's the best version of themselves, that part that they might be ignoring right now. And they found it in you. All of a sudden your souls more or less are communicating. So it's a really interesting scenario to be in. If you can genuinely care about other people and leave the money game to work out on its own, but the right people, the right circumstances will come across your path and they will look like the right moves, the right decisions, right? But those moves couldn't necessarily be there to make unless you actually show genuine care. All of a sudden, what will happen is that there'll be this ease of your success. And people will go, well, we struggled, we worked hard, we did everything difficult and we've got it. But you still look miserable, man. You still look like the person that you were when you didn't have anything and now you've got everything. And it's like there's this, you have to be inside the way you would like your outside to look. You can't be the other way because there's plenty of wealthy people in the world that are miserable.
Oh my.
And people with not even half that wealth that are genuinely grateful for what they've got. So where does the answer lie here?
Yes.
The answer lies in the fact that it's an internal job. And whatever happens from you being of complete service and complete care and complete empathy and having tactical understanding of where people are coming from, that yields certain results. Because then people will say, when I was with Alison last night, I just really enjoyed being in her company. There's an energy, there's something's a vibration that I just really enjoyed being. I wonder what Alison does. Oh, she's got counseling centers. I know someone who might be, all of a sudden, they will be like little ambassadors for you. Mm-hmm. But not because you intended it that way. No. Just because of who you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All of a sudden, the money ends up being a consequence of that mindset because we're all craving it.
Yes. It's like love and understanding and letting go.
Man. Don't worry about Instagram and all that. I mean, you can worry, put your content out there, but it's not so much that. It's every person you meet, are they leaving your company in a better space than when they came in that door? And if the answer is yes, you are literally making the world a better place and elevating yourself in the process. Like, competitors that put other competitors down, have you noticed what happens? You both sink. You both, but if you actually, like, we've got another realty in our area that has got 80% market share. Like, they are the bomb. They are the best, right? And every listing presentation that I go in, oh, we've had so-and-so in. And I'm like, you know what? They're a really good agency. What we do different is this. And I wish you all the very, very best with whoever you decide. We will fight for every dollar. Whereas usually with bigger agencies, they've got so much stock that they can't pay the attention to every listing to get the best money that they can. Yeah. So for us, that's our advantage. Being the underdog gives us the advantage of going, well, this is where we're different. And then all of a sudden they will say, oh yeah, and I heard people that used them and they weren't that happy with them. And I'm like,
you know what? You go to a house. I've gone to a house and a realtor is sitting there, and I've not bought the house because of the realtor sitting there.
There you go.
And I've done like 10 deals with this one woman, and I always hated real estate agents, always. And then she won me over by being just so honest. She's like, you don't want that. Let me tell you everything wrong with that. No, we're leaving. You can't buy this house or this property or whatever it is. And I'd have to fight for the property to buy it. I'm like, I don't care. I want it. But I trust her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know she's not just trying to, make money off of me. She wants she wants the outcome to be good for me and for her.
Yeah.
In the book Think and Grow Rich, and then we have to go. I robbed you. I took hostage of you. But
it's all good.
I love this, and I try to live by this. I don't want to say try. I do live by this. He says, I do not engage in any transaction that is not of benefit to everyone involved.
Yeah.
And that is life-changing. That's when I'm hiring someone, I will not hire someone that I'm going to benefit and they're not, or the clients have to, the business has to, everybody has to, or we don't do it. And it's such a great way to live. Right?
Love it.
Yeah.
It's a great way to move through the world.
Yes. Because no one loses.
No.
Right?
No, exactly. And if you think about it from a cosmic perspective, if we all learn from our painful and joyful scenarios, then God sits up there and smiles and goes, they're growing, through their pain and through their suffering and through their joy and through their heartache, they're growing. And that's what he cares about. It's like you're getting closer to his understanding of how the world works rather than ground view.
Mm-hmm.
And rather than the 3-year-old who chucks a tantrum because they're not getting a cookie.
I could be like
that's
that
us.
Time.
That's us.
just for a minute, and then I'm like, all right, you're fine.
Let's move on.
Yeah, the customer service person didn't give me what I wanted. Like, calm down. We're good.
Calm down.
Yeah.
Pull your head in. Relax. Yes.
So how can everyone find you? And there's so much more for us, Barry.
I'm a bit of it. I've pulled back off social for a little while.
That's lovely. Good for you.
Because I find it was consuming me. I was doing it more for people than I was for me. And I've pulled back because I want to concentrate on the relationships that mean the most to me. I want to get that foundation right before I start spruiking. And the books are great, and there might be someone out in the world that loves the book, and that for me that knowing is enough for me to propel me forward. But yeah, LinkedIn is probably the best place to catch me. And I'm not so active on Insta these days, and not so much on Threads either. So it's kind of like, I'm going a bit old school here, kind of, message me on, Messenger or Instagram or whatever it is, you'll catch me. But yeah, the book, if you want something to blow your way.
All of that in the show notes, just so you know, like they can get your book, but I want you to say it. I wouldn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah. LinkedIn, or I've got my little consultancy is still alive, actually, it's doing okay. There's a couple of clients on the site, but not a lot. TheMindsetGap.com. If you look at the Mindset Gap, you'll see all about the programs that we instill into corporate Australia.
Yeah.
And then, growing in the real estate industry in Sydney is just phenomenal. So it's something that I feel has aligned with me right now, and fallen into a great team. So it's pretty cool. It's awesome.
You know what I love about what you're saying is that, see, like you were saying about me being different, I feel like there is a difference when someone's out in the world doing something they feel creatively passionate about. And I think that can be sucked dry from social media and just delivering content. What I just started recently doing is just praying over every video I've ever done, just broadly. Say, God, I just pray over every single piece of content that's out there and anything that ever does go out there. And I pray that it will only be in the hands of someone whose life will change. And if they do share it with someone else, let them only share it with someone else whose life will change for the better. And let that
Perfect.
just be my intention over what I do. This way I know. I also pray over my money. I pray that my money can never be used for evil and only for
Mm,
good. Any money
mm,
that passes through my hand, the rest of its life can only be used for good. So
mm,
it's like
mm,
almost like covering macro.
mm,
Because you know
mm,
what? The whole social media thing is just, I don't even try to keep up. It's just a
mm,
lot. I don't
mm,
want to try to keep up, but I
mm.
do want to help people.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And what I was just quickly going to say before we finish up, I've taken a different perspective on, say, good and evil in some respects,
Oh,
because
yeah. Interesting. Yeah,
I
you
don't.
got it.
Yeah, it's interesting because if God uses everything for good, then there not there's not a purpose to evil. Don't get me wrong, but there's a an understanding that it's His playground.
Mhm.
I'm not saying He permits it, but I'm saying that in the end, it's recycled for good.
You know the scripture that says, what the enemy uses for evil, God uses for good. So it's like, it doesn't matter. That's the recycling. It doesn't matter if something bad comes your way, as long if you're surrendered and your life, it can be used for you to be a victim the rest of your life, to have one long
Yeah,
emotional response and
yeah,
feel like or it can be used for
yeah,
good, right? Free will,
yeah.
you know?
And you know what? I'm sure people in the rest of your life, some people will have ill intention when they speak with you,
Hmm,
Alison, and some people will have good intention. And I
that's
think
okay
as
though.
long as you're steadfast in the way that you put good out there, and the way that's interpreted or the way that's actioned, that's got nothing to do with you.
True.
That's up to them.
Yeah.
You know, like you spend money and then someone uses it for bad or whatever it is. It's like the intention behind that was good. You've changed that. That is out of my hands. God, please use it for good. But if it's used for bad, let it have a purpose at the end.
Mhm. Which is
Kind
good.
of, yeah, which is good. Exactly.
Which is
Wh-
good.
Which
If
is
it
why love
changes
will
someone's
endure.
life through hurting, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good perspective. Yeah.
Very, very healthy perspective. Yes.
Well,
So
Mr. Barry, it's a pleasure once
what have,
again from across
what
the
have we done?
world, from so far away. I
I
really
know.
just love our time together. I want to thank you so much for being here.
No
Really.
problem.
I think you're the best. Really. Is there anything else that you want to just say before we
Um,
sign off?
Not really. I think you just don't get caught up in your troubles. Just, entertain them for a bit, beam them, recognize that they're real, and then go, okay, this too shall pass. This will move forward. The wisdom that will be applied, I hope that I pick that up as lessons with my current challenge. And that I don't have to learn the same lesson over and over and over again.
God, that's what that keeps me going. I'm like, I'm not doing this again.
I'm
I
not
have
doing
decided. So I'm
Yeah.
going to learn. Tell me everything I need to learn now. So I just don't ever want to be here again. Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Alison,
Thank
the
you
world's
so much.
brighter. The world's brighter because you're in it.
Ah, you know what I say to my team? Oh, I'm never going to stop talking. I say to my team, I go, or anyone, I'm like, is the room a better place because you're in it? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, the room's a better place because we're in it, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So yeah,
Thank you, Barry.
everything has a reason and a purpose for sure.
It does. And I have to like drive across town for another meeting. Whoop.
Okay, I'll leave you alone.
No, goodbye, Barry.
All
So
right.
nice to see you. Have a beautiful.
Thanks, Ali.
Guys, thank you so much for listening to the show. I just want to say to you that we are all together a part of the Mission Awake, a mission that's going to stop the mediocrity that's plaguing all of us. So if you got something here today, I ask that you would be a part of this mission and you'd share it with whoever you can. Take a screenshot of the show and share it on your Instagram. If you are looking for me, you can find me on social media platform Instagram, Alison Answers, or Lager Counseling Services. And give us a review and subscribe if you could to YouTube, Alison Answers. That's where you're going to get a lot of content. I drop stuff every day, goofy stuff, all different kinds of stuff. 5-minute videos that just get you moving in your day. Have a great week. See you next time.